with the weight penalty that he's got on board. Let's get some of the stories from out there on the grid by joining Louise.
Yeah, a momentous day for two of the drivers. Matt Neal starting his 500th British Touring Car Championship race, and I'm down on the grid with Dad Steve. And I understand you've got a few celebrations planned for Matt later on, which you can tell us about. He doesn't know anything about them, but obviously he can't hear us now. So tell us what's in store for him.
Right. Well, there's all sorts of things. A magnificent cake, I've got to say. This is one of the members of the team has got a girl who makes these cakes, and it is a model of that car in a cake, and it's magnificent, superb. Then there's this balloon version of Matt, which is a 6'6" decoration made in balloons, and then there's all sorts of parties and surprises, and I'm going to say girls and boys and everything. Yeah, everything you could wish for.
I'm looking forward to seeing that balloon. There's a line there about hot air, but it's probably best that I don't go there. I mean, you've obviously been with Matt for not all of the races, but a lot of them, sometimes as his dad, sometimes as his boss. Which do you find easier?
Oh, being dad. That's easier, yeah, because that's emotion, that's natural. Being boss, sometimes when we fall out, which we do, and then we make friends again because we're dads and son, you know, that's the bond, isn't it?
Of all of those moments, is there one in particular that stands out in your mind?
It's got to be the win where you had his first win and picked not the money. The 250,000 was very, very welcome, I can assure you. But it was a pure joy of winning, and the stunning shock when the car came for its pit stop and he stalled and he was leading, then went out fifth, and then gradually crept his way back up to win it. Oh, it was a magnificent race.
Right here at Donington as well, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, fabulous.
Let's grab a word. I want to grab a word. Here he is, Barry Plowman, who's the technical director at Team Dynamics, who I think you've worked with Matt virtually every single one of those 500 races, haven't you?
Yeah, I've probably done about 480 with Matt right from early on in his career. Obviously, he was quite a young boy then. Now he's a bit like getting quite old, but he can still do the business.
I'm sure he won't thank you for saying that.
And hopefully in this race now, in his 500, he's going to take a win, but we'll see how it goes.
How has he changed over the years, both as a driver and as a man as well?
Obviously, he's grown up. You know, he's learnt his trade very, very well. As a lot of the older guys on the grid do in touring car racing. I mean, normally they develop very, very late. It's a lot of experience, but, you know, he's a nice guy. He hasn't changed much in that respect.
And what do you think are his best qualities as a driver?
Very, very cunning when it comes to the tough bits of the races. You know, he's very sly.
Sly. Thank you for saying that. Thanks, Barry. Have a great race. Now, obviously, Jason Plato, 100 races less, but still 400 is well worth making. Here's his dad, Tim, who, how many of Jason's 400 races have you been at? Have you been at every single one?
Apart from one, which was at Knockhill. I was beyond the seas, sunning myself, so it doesn't count really, Knockhill, does it?
And lots of moments for you to pick out from that. Any special one that stands out in your mind?
There's so many, Louise, but I think probably one that stands out more than anything is the 3 races at Brands Hatch that he won in the first year of Chevrolet. That was such an exciting weekend. I really enjoyed that. But there's so many, I've lost count, really.
I've just been talking with Barry Plowman and asking him how Matt has changed over the years as a driver and as a person as well. And I suppose I'll pose the same question to you about Jason.
As a person, he hasn't changed. He's still got the same personality, probably slightly wilder. He's certainly become a better businessman. He's making lots more money, and he's a family man. So yeah, there's a change there. But no, Jason's Jason, as you well know. You know, we all know Jason, and long may it continue. Just
as long as he doesn't get any wilder. Enjoy the race. And finally, a last word with H. Ian Harrison, who is now Jason's boss here. You've worked with Jason. You've seen him man and boy because he was with your team back in the early days. What do you think are his best qualities as a driver?
Well, he's quick and he hasn't forgotten how to do it. Obviously, he drove for us back in the 90s. And 400 races on, here he is, and he's still the quickest. I still think he's the quickest guy out there, but you know, Matt Neal would disagree and Steve would. But no, look, the bloke knows how to do the job. You watch him in this race, and I hope that I'm not going to preempt anything here, but I think he will be in pretty good shape for this one.
One final question to you, and maybe slightly a mean one, but obviously you work with both Matt and with Jason. How do you think they compare as drivers?
They're completely different. Thank you. Thank you.
Enough said. We'll just leave it at that. Well, that 400th and 500th race, 500th race coming up in just a few minutes. That's just after the break, so make sure you come back for that.
So the excitement cranks up a little further here at Donington Park as we're set for our second touring car race of the afternoon. Round 5 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. Commentary as ever from Tim Harvey and David Addison.
And so the second race of the day is about to get underway. This the final opportunity for drivers to get some warmth into the tyres. And we've got 4 of them this time starting on the softer tyre, including Frank Raffle, who's going to be one to watch. But it's Gordon Shedden on pole position with 45 kilos of weight on board, having won race 1 of the day, with Andrew Jordan second, ahead of Matt Neal and Jason Plato running these different numbers for this anniversary race. Then it's Adam Morgan and Sam Tordoff on the 3rd row of the grid. Frank Raffle on soft tyres starts on the inside of row 4 ahead of Colin Turkington. Then it's Dave Newsham and Jeff Smith. Teammates Aaron Smith and Matt Jackson for Airwaves Racing are next on the grid. Tom Onslow Cole and Rob Austin are ahead of Rob Collard and Ollie Jackson. And then it's Nick Foster and Jack Goff. Behind them, it's Jack Sears trophy winner James Kay from race 1 ahead of Liam Griffin. Joe Girling is next ahead of James Cole. David Nye and Lee Wood are next on the grid ahead of Will Bratt and Warren Scott, and Daniel Welch, who is on the soft tyres as well this time, having had a disappointing first race, rounds out the grid. So the cars making their way then through Coppice. And let's see whether we can grab a word with Frank Raffle, because Frank is on the soft tyres this time and we were expecting great things from him in that first race. There is Frank Raffle, we're on board with him. Frank, David in the box. Tell us what happened first of all in race 1. We were expecting great things from you.
Yeah, me too, to be honest. A bit of a disappointing race, but we had a couple of issues yesterday with the turbo and the boost control. Unfortunately, they came back in the race, and I was actually just struggling for straight line speed. Made it so difficult to race, but at the end of the day, we brought that car home in one piece, and 7th isn't a bad result, really.
And the second question, just quickly, you're on the soft tyres. Bucks the trend of it going in the middle race. What's the thinking behind using them in this?
There's a chance of rain in the 3rd race, so we decided we wanted to use them when the track was possibly at its hottest. It's a gamble. We'll see how it goes.
Good luck to you, Frank. Well, there is Frank Raffle up to the grid. Interesting choice, Tim Harvey.
Yeah, I think having seen the times from the first race of the cars on soft tyres, they'll probably be regretting that decision to do it, because the soft tyres lost about 1.5 seconds in pace over the race. The harder tyres only lost 4 to 5 tenths, so I think he's going to struggle in this race, even if he's got his boost sorted out.
Dan Welch up to the grid. Warren Scott there with him. Warren had a fairly larried moment yesterday when the steering rack broke going down through the Craner curves. Grid is formed, ready for round 5. The flag at the back says that we are ready to go for round 5 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. It's Gordon Shedden on pole position, light to red. Engine notes rise, lights out. We're racing at Donington. Who makes the best start? Andrew Jordan gets away well, but so does the heavier car of Gordon Shedden, which leads down towards Redgate. Jordan slots in behind him. Everybody goes to the inside line, and drama in the background. James Kay has gone sideways. David Nye gets involved there in the pit wall. That's 2 gone already. We haven't even got to the first corner. 1 out wide. That's Jeff Smith at Redgate. He's in the weeds. He's back on the circuit. They're 3 abreast going into Hollywood. But can those 2 cars get going from the pit straight, or will we need a safety car? Shedden leads down to the old hairpin. Raffle tries to get past Adam Morgan. It's game on, Tim.
Yeah, it is. Well, after the clean start in race 1, it's all kicked off in race 2. Certainly the front runners all got out away cleanly. The safety car is out. They will race until they get to a marshal's post displaying the safety car. Meanwhile, 9K are in the pit wall, and, well, the autocross has begun further back on the grid with cars all over the grass.
One of them, I think, is Will Bratt, but as you say, they're still racing until they get to that marshal's post. Yellow flags wave, Shedden leading the way, Jordan second, Neal third, Plato fourth. Now they have to hold station. And the reason for the safety car, of course, is so the race can continue, albeit under control conditions, so those 2 cars can be removed. Out of the chicane they come, and now the weaving around will start to try and maintain the warmth in the rubber.
Yeah, saw some bunching up on the straight as the drivers sort of came up to that marshal's post, and there was a little bit of running into the back of each other. Sam Tordoff backed out of it. One of the BMWs I saw struggling to stop, but it was a very clean start at the front, and Shedden, Jordan, Neil all got away very cleanly indeed. Plato as well. Worth taking an opportunity to have a look at the weights of the cars for this race, because at the front, Gordon Shedden has gone from 0 ballast obviously to 45 kilo maximum, which he's going to have to carry in this race. Andrew Jordan, though, on the other hand, is exactly the same. Here's Dan Welch at the back of the grid. Watch him. He's going down the right-hand side. Got in front of him, we see some bunching. Kay on the right-hand side gets into contact with Nye. They just ran side by side, wheel to wheel, and those two initiated the contact, and they were the only two involved as it happened.
From another angle, David Nye gets airborne into the side of James Kay. That turns the VW Golf through 90 degrees. Lucky that Moore weren't involved in that.
Yeah, very close there. Warren Scott just getting on the anchors and avoiding being the third car. It's on board with Smith. Car bouncing off the rev limiter, releasing the clutch. Not too much wheel spin. Good start from him. Again, everybody in front moving over to protect the inside line into Redgate. Alongside, though, comes Aaron Smith in the Airwaves car, and round the outside, Rob Austin. So he got a double pincer movement, and that pushed him out on the grass, and he loses even more places with no traction on the grass.
And that meant Jeff Smith 18th at the end of lap 1. So this is lap 2. The race distance will be increased because of the safety car laps. You can see the damage on David Nye's Ford Focus as that is dragged off the circuit. Safety car through the chicane. How many more laps are we going to need before the circuit is clear? Shouldn't be that many. Of course, those cars are quite close to pit exit, so they can easily be dragged out of the way. So Gordon Shedden leads from Andrew Jordan in second spot. Third, it's Matt Neal, and fourth is Jason Plato. Adam Morgan is fifth, Frank Raffles sixth, so he's gained 1 place. Colin Turkington is seventh, Sam Tordoff eighth, Dave Newsham is ninth, and Rob Austin up into the top 10 after a really good first lap. Dave Newsham struggling towards the end of the first race with a brake pedal that was getting longer and longer, but fingers crossed that has been sorted out for him. He should be one to watch when we go racing once again.
Yeah, just going back to finishing, I was saying about the weight. The cars I expect to be really competitive are obviously Andrew Jordan, who's at the same weight as the first race, which he very nearly won, and also Jason Plato, who has lost 27 kilos. So I expect those two to be the ones pushing forward. Obviously, Shedden has gained and Neil has gained as well. Here's another angle of the start from above, and it's really nobody's fault here, because in fact Nye and Kay are running virtually side by side there. There was a little bit of pincer in movement, I think, from James Cole on the other side. It was just really just not enough room, but certainly nobody's fault from that at all.
We should go racing this time. The lights, look, are out atop the safety car. That's the indication that it will peel for the pit lane this time, and then we are going to be back in business. So Andrew Jordan needs to be on his toes on the restart, doesn't he, and then try to make a move against Gordon Shedden going down towards Redgate. We've used the line before this season that safety cars breed safety cars, because now you've got them all bunched up again, and therefore it might kick off at Redgate once more, but we will see. Shedden, Jordan, Neil, absolutely tied together. Then the wily Jason Plato running forward, waiting to see what develops ahead. And Adam Morgan, who, after that great first race of the day, is well placed once more ahead of Raffle, and then Colin Turkington, and then Sam Tordoff. Gordon Shedden slows the pace right down into the chicane, turns his way out of the chicane, now accelerates. We're racing once more at Donington in round 5 of the championship. Over the line they come. Shedden tries to make good his escape. Jordan's not close enough to make a move. What about Plato on Matt Neal? He's going to have a look at the inside. Is he? Jason keeps on coming. They're almost level into the corner. Jason Plato on the inside. Matt Neal on the outside line. Can the MG go through? Not quite. But Jason stands his ground on the inside for Hollywood. Then Matt's going to have the inside line for the first part of the Prater curve. This is really brave stuff. Side by side, all over the curve goes Plato. He's done it, and here comes Morgan up on the inside. That doesn't work, but Plato grabs third place. What a move.
Well, he was massively brave there. Both drivers gave each other a lot of respect, but certainly no extra room. And Plato round the outside nearly ran off the circuit on the exit of the Craners. Really brave and great driving by Plato.
And now Matt Neal tries to fight back, but he also needs to keep at bay Adam Morgan, who is busy defending from Raffle. We're up to 18 laps because of that safety car period. Green flags fly around the circuit. Down to the chicane comes Gordon Shedden. Andrew Jordan is there in second place, and you can see Colin Turkington having to defend because Sam Tordoff there comes up on the outside, diving into the chicane. Right with them as well is Dave Newsham, and also not that far adrift is Aaron Smith. Now you've got 3 wide into the chicane: Tom Onslow, Cole, Matt Jackson and Nick Foster, and Ollie Jackson's trying to be part of this group as well, and so is Jeff Smith.
Yeah, Jeff Smith fighting back from that off at Redgate on the first corner, and he made big progress in the first race we saw as well to get up into the top 10, but he's got there are battles absolutely everywhere. This 27-car field is giving us fantastic racing.
Everywhere you look, there's a battle, isn't there? And there's Ollie Jackson versus Jeff Smith going down through the Craner curves. Jack Goff behind them. Ollie Jackson in the Toyota was ahead, but no more. Jeff Smith goes back ahead of him, down through the Craner curves into the daunting old hairpin. Lots of dust is being kicked up ahead of them.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers were complaining about the dirt on the track after the first race. We can't always see it from the commentary box here or even on TV, but they were saying offline it was very, very dirty, and we've seen it in all the other support races. Well, Warren Scott's off. Not sure where that is at the moment. It might be bottom of the old hairpin.
Well, the ex-bike racer, the farmer as he's known, is off at the old hairpin. Well, he was on the grass coming into the corner. That's a big, big lose, isn't it? He's got a long way through the gravel.
Yeah, he's fortunately the gravel and the tyre wall done its job very well. He obviously got wide coming through the left-hand part of the Craners. There was a report he was dropping fluid, and if he got fluid on his rear tyres, he really would have been a passenger, and no way of doing anything about that.
Andrew Jordan is a little bit closer to Gordon Shedden. The gap is 0.3 of a second, and Matt Neal has done the fastest lap of the race. They're all bunching up nicely then for the leading 4 places. The heaviest car on track, Shedden's, leads the way, but Jordan is right with him. Remember how he came on strong towards the end of race 1, getting closer and closer and closer. They're carrying on that race 1 battle, but Shedden from no way to talk to 45 kilos. What can Plato do about them? There he is third, and he's chipping away.
Yeah, Jordan is going to see that Plato is coming for him, and Jordan will look, this is going to slow them both down. Jordan needs to get past Shedden quickly if he can. He's really trying to get up the inside, trying to cut the corner, but Shedden's got it locked off. This is going to let Plato get up behind. Jordan really anxious, and I think if he could get past, he would be quicker than Shedden.
Does he think about making a move on the inside? There was a gap, but Andrew Jordan doesn't take it this time. The width of the gap he needs to find is 1890 millimetres. That's the width of a Honda Civic. He forgot that at Brands Hatch, but he's researched it since. Shedden leads the way over the line. The gap, 0.2 of a second this time. Plato third, Matt Neal is fourth, and you can't discount him either.
Here he goes, a lunge down the inside. It's a very clean manoeuvre, side by side. I think Jordan's got it done. He has. Is Plato going to have an opportunity? No. Shedden's trying to move over and close the door. Just held on to second.
Now Jordan needs to escape, doesn't he, while Shedden's defending from Plato. Down to the old hairpin. Andrew Jordan on his home circuit turns through the corner. Warren Scott's car was to the left, being dragged out of the gravel through that yellow flag zone. You're riding with Plato, so he couldn't really attack going into the corner, but he can sure attack now going up towards McLean's.
Yeah, you can see that weight difference making a difference as they accelerate up under Starkeys. It's an uphill part of the circuit, and Jason's definitely got a quicker car now underneath him. He wants to get past as soon as possible, as you say, before Jordan gets away.
Plato is also trying to do 2 things at once. Attack the second of Shedden, but keep Matt Neal behind him. So the MG on the outside as Shedden defends the inside line, and then Jason Plato suddenly switches sides, but there's not quite enough room there coming into the chicane, and he has to be mindful of covering the line so that Matt Neal doesn't go past him. Jordan is gapping the rest of them. This is just what he wanted, a battle raging behind him. He's already 8/10 ahead. Now what happens at Redgate this time? Shedden, 45 kilos on board defence. Here comes Plato up the inside, has a look, thinks better of it.
Now Shedden is driving a canny defensive race at the moment. He's placing the car just far enough into the middle of the road to distract or to deter Plato from having a go, but not to lose too much time on the exit. He's actually hoping that Matt Neal, his teammate, will start getting stuck into Jason and give him a bit of breathing room.
I just wonder whether Adam Morgan might not be part of that battle before much longer. He's lapping quicker than Matt Neal because Matt is stuck in this traffic jam. So there you can see at the back of this quintet of cars, Adam Morgan in the Toyota is right with them, and Frank Raffle is in strife down at the old hairpin.
He's had a spin or he's pulled off. There's a fair bit of dust there, so I'm assuming he's had a spin. He was on those soft tyres, remember. Down into the old hairpin. Oh. Now that's a strange noise. That sounds like the engine's gone or something. Oh no, he's lit it up again, got wheel spin. He's got no drive. He's had to shut that engine off. Almost sounded like he had a full throttle. Very strange thing going on there. But anyway, he's out of it. The battle resumed for second place between Shedden, Plato, Neal and Morgan. Very much in there. Tordoff is putting a move behind on Turkington.
That's for 6th place as the leaders work their way through Hollywood. Jason Plato now to the inside of Gordon Shedden. We know that Jason is really brave through this part of the circuit, almost door to door, but Gordon Shedden hangs on to the place. Jason Plato can't find a way past him there. Out of the old hairpin. Matt Neal is right with him in 4th. Adam Morgan is there, 5th as well, just waiting to see what develops ahead. Really good defence, though, this by Gordon Shedden in 2nd place. And lower down the order, incidentally, 13th, Jeff Smith has done the fastest lap of the race.
Good for you, Jeff. Excellent. I mean, part of that is because this front group is fighting amongst themselves. And obviously, Jeff is not carrying any ballast, but it's still mighty impressive.
On board with Matt Neal, coming out of Coppice then now down Starkey Straight, heading towards the chicane. Ahead is Jason Plato looking for a gap. Look at the way Shedden defends. He gives him just about enough racing room, but Jason can't find a way through there. He uses a lot more curve into the chicane, doesn't he, Plato? Here they come over the line. While this is going on, Andrew Jordan's lead was 8/10, then 9/10, now 1.6 seconds. It's looking really good for Jordan. Behind, Plato on the outside. What does Matt Neal think about doing? Went for the inside, suddenly had a face full of MG.
I tell you what, this is a great education for Adam Morgan, isn't he? He's got the 3 biggest names in British Touring Car Championship over the last few years ahead of him. He could just watch and study how they race each other and know in his heart of hearts he's got the pace as well. But at the moment, he's not getting stuck in. That's very sensible from Adam, but he'll be learning a lot off these 3.
3 champions, of course, so it's the real masterclass going on ahead of him. On board with Jason Plato, you're looking at Gordon Shedden's car ahead into McLean's corner through the right-hander. All the while, Andrew Jordan is building this race lead. Gordon Shedden doing a superb job of defending for this 2nd place into Coppice. Takes a big bite of that curve on the inside. Now can Plato make a move coming down towards the chicane?
Yeah, it's a big adjustment when you whack that 45 kilos into the car. It doesn't brake, it doesn't change direction through the chicane or accelerate as much. And it's, you know, I think it took a couple of laps or so for Gordon just to get his head into the rhythm of driving with that extra weight on, because he's managed to resist Plato now without doing anything deeply defensive for several laps.
Matt Neal has just lost a length or so to Plato, who's going to dive up the inside, is he? He thinks about it at Redgate. Wasn't really on that, but what he needs is a good exit to try this move again through Hollywood and then down through the Craners. Behind, it's all happening for 6th as well. Turkington's under pressure. There's a traffic jam queuing up behind him. Andrew Jordan's escaping up front, but still Gordon Shedden is repelling the advance of Plato. Now this is the Turkington et al. Battle. There's Newsham behind, there's Tordoff behind as well. 6th, 7th and 8th through the old hairpin.
Well, Newsham has actually got in front of Tordoff, because remember last lap it was Tordoff that was challenging Turkington, so Newsham's on the move.
And then behind is Rob Collard, 9th, the best we've seen of Rob all year. So the BMW's making progress race by race. And Aaron Smith, 10th for Airwaves Racing. Still not really a very happy team on the evidence of race 1. So Colin Turkington runs 6th as he comes through Coppice. He's under attack, of course, another of the former champions. He's had 3 8th places thus far this year. If he were to stay 6th, that would be his best yet in the new car. Down to the chicane.
Yeah, with Frank Rathel out, the highest placed soft tyre car is actually Jack Goff down in 14th place, so no one near the front on the soft tyres. And also to give you an update on the Jack Sears Trophy cars, the Super 2000 cars, it's Lee Wood leading that class at the moment.
Look at this at Redgate, really under attack is Turkington now. Dave Newsham has a look to the inside, and Tordoff comes out of Redgate attacking the Toyota. There's a gap on the inside, here comes the MG. Tordoff is alongside, he's got the inside for Hollywood, and he's through.
Yes, Tordoff showed some great racecraft in the first 3 races at Brands and now here. Really, he got his cut and thrust, learnt his cut and thrust through the Clio Championship, and he's applying that very much towards touring cars.
Meantime, for 2nd place, it's still Gordon Shedden managing somehow to keep at bay Jason Plato, who looks to the outside going up towards Coppice. He can't swing across, and both of them using all of the curve there.
Yeah, look how Shedden cuts off the 2nd apex there. You don't normally do that. You normally let the car run wide, but Shedden's going all around the inside. Can Plato go all the way around the outside? No way through there. He's going to cut back, try and get a much better exit. This is great racing, but real respect between the drivers. drivers.
It couldn't be closer, but it's a really clean fight between the two. Everything Jason Plato tries, Gordon Shedden, in a car with 45 kilos of extra weight on board, has the answer, down to Redgate. And the line Jason needs is already taken by Gordon Shedden. Now Plato tries to get the inside heading into Hollywood. The gap narrows, he's on the grass, but he keeps on coming. Now he's on the curb, and he keeps on coming. He's almost level as they go down through the craters, but once again, Gordon Shedden is able to hang on to the place.
Yeah, the thing is, there's nobody braver down the crater curves than Gordon Shedden. As I said in the first race, he was the only driver I could find who went absolutely flat down the craters in qualifying. Oh, Rob Austin's gone off somewhere. But, and Matt Neal having to go at his favourite overtaking place. Oh, Adam Morgan into the back of him as he slows down. But up the inside, into McLean's is Matt Neal's absolute #1 favourite overtaking place at Donington.
Adam Morgan running in exalted company here, but he's equal to the task, isn't he? And he might yet pick up another place or two before the end of the race. Remember, ahead of this group is Andrew Jordan, leading now by over 2 seconds. Shedden is second and Plato third. Matt Neal fourth and Adam Morgan fifth as they come out of the chicane. 18 laps the distance. The leader is on to lap 14. Now let's have a look and see what happened to Rob Austin through the chicane. Dan Welch behind him.
Well, Rob Austin, he lost drive. Something happened to the car midway through that chicane because he just lost drive and didn't accelerate. And I don't think there was anything intentional in that at all. I should just go back to Adam Morgan and Paul Ridgway, who's a very, very experienced engineer, is engineering that car for Sicily Motorsport. And I just wonder if he said to Adam, just sit tight. These three guys are going to kick off at some point. Let's just bide our time and see what happens.
It may well be the case. Yes, as you say, a hugely experienced, very well-respected engineer, Paul Ridgway. Now, dare one say, this has just calmed down for a couple of corners because nobody at the moment is glued to the back of the car ahead. I'm sure they'll all bunch up, come the chicane. Jason Plato thinking now, OK, where am I going to gain this place? Everything I've tried thus far has failed. Let me have another think about it. Adam Morgan pulls out of the draft, coming down to the chicane. He, in turn, under no pressure, Sam Tordoff, now that he's up into 6th, he's still quite a long way behind. That's the Pertec Racing Garage.
Yes, this will be a very popular win. Andrew Jordan, who's been the perennial second-place man so far this year, thoroughly deserves a win, I have to say. I really think that Pertec, Eurotech Motorsport, Andrew Jordan, they've maybe got the edge just fractionally on pace on the Works Honda cars at the moment, and Andrew's exploiting it very well.
Down through the Kramer curves once more, into the old hairpin. They're on to lap number 15 now. Jason Plato still working out what to do about Gordon Shedden. He was half a second back, though, going on to this lap. So first of all, he needs to somehow bring down that deficit, doesn't he? Here they come, up towards McLean's. Matt Neal not staying with them anymore.
No, it's strange, isn't it? Matt again is running slightly less weight than Gordon. And really, Gordon's driven superbly to hold these cars off. So far.
Yes, because we still have a few laps left yet. Anything could yet happen. Gordon Shedden is still defending because now the MG is closer. Again, Jason Plato goes to the outside. He brakes as late as he dares. The car quivers under braking, but he still can't do it. He has to slot back in behind Shedden as they come over the line.
Yeah, I think if Jason's going to get rough on this, it's going to be a little tap just here into Redgate on the apex of the corner to force Gordon wide, or perhaps the same thing at McLean's or Coppice. That's where he would get an advantage by just nudging that car a little wide and losing. He's quick off the corner. He's very quick off the corner this lap. He's going to keep it on this time.
This time he's done it. Jason Plato goes second. Can Shedden fight back? Going down to the old hairpin. He was right behind the MG, but that is where he's going to have to stay for at least that corner. Now they head up through Trott's curve towards McLean's. Is Gordon Shedden going to be able to fight back? I don't think so. It looks as though now Jason Plato should be able to creep away. They're close at McLean's. What about Coppice? Let's just see. Shedden goes a little bit too wide, though, there. Kicks up the dirt. They head towards Coppice corner now on this 16th lap out of 18. But has Jason done it? Can he now drive away?
Yes, he will. And fair play to Jason. He waited and bided his time. He didn't run into the back of the Honda once, not once in all that close battling. And he bided his time and made a really clean pass. And that's fantastic to see. But I think he's left it too late to close up on Andrew Jordan now. But I do think he will pull away from Shedden.
Then we'll see what will happen between Shedden and Matt Neal. The gap between those two is a second as they come over the line. Down towards Redgate. Into the right-hander. Andrew Jordan's lead is 2.9 seconds. We've only got effectively now 2 laps to go.
Yes, it's been an extremely good race driven by these drivers. Perhaps not as much overtaking as you would normally see, but boy, we've seen a real masterclass in defence from Gordon Shedden for a very long time. We've seen Jason Plato work it out how to get past, and well, here comes Jeff Smith, who's been barrelling up the order, hasn't he, and really doing a good job. And Jeff Smith's another driver that's impressed massively this year.
Yeah, Jeff, remember, got bundled out wide at Redgate on the very first lap. He's recovered for 12th, and he might yet get 11th, because just up the road ahead of him is Rob Collard, so they're still fighting. Colin Turkington's BMW has fallen down the order as the race has worn on. He is now 9th. You're riding on board with Jeff Smith. He's got a lap and a bit to go in which to get past Rob Collard.
And remember, these are the all-important places that could decide the front of the grid for race 3. Positions 6 to 10th, any one of them could be on the front row, anyone could be reversed in the balls drawn out, the lucky balls, to decide the grid for the final race. And that's why they're racing so hard.
10th at the moment, Tom Onslow Cole there just going through the shot in the Volkswagen Passat. We're on the last lap of the race though, and there is the race leader. It is Andrew Jordan, the man from Litchfield, leads the way. This is his home circuit. He comes down through the Craner curves. The front of the car drops suddenly as he left foot brakes for the old hairpin, turns his way through the right-hander. The gap has come down. It was 2.9, it's 2.3 over Jason Plato. Is that Jason pushing? Is that Andrew Jordan just measuring that gap? I don't think he's going to come under attack at the chicane on the last lap. So Jordan it is who leads out of McLean's.
No, it's just Andrew, just measured drive to the end. He did exactly what he needed to do. He got past Shedden early, and while Shedden was defending, he pulled out that nice, comfortable gap, and he's never been pushed again since. I think if Plato had got past Shedden earlier, we could have seen a closer battle. But nevertheless, he thoroughly deserves this victory. Great drive by Andrew Jordan.
It's a 5th career win as he comes out on the chicane here at Donington. Andrew Jordan wins round 5 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship, and he wins in style. 2nd over the line, Jason Plato. For 3rd, what a drive, Gordon Shedden. And they're still squabbling as Jeff Smith gains a place into the chicane. That gives him 11th. He's going to miss out on that reversal of the grid, but it's another place gained. He's done the fastest lap of the race, equalled, would you believe, by Matt Neal. And Will Bratt, I'm afraid, is in trouble. He's on the grass. It is not a good weekend for Rob Austin Racing, is it?
No, I think they've been so busy working their way back from Brands, but no, they definitely haven't had a good weekend.
Now, Lee Wood, you can see, he there, the second of those 2 cars, the Vauxhall Vectra, is on target to win the Jack Sears Trophy, which rather self-destructed on the first lap, didn't it, even before Redgate. And Lee Wood, with his never-say-die attitude, attacks Nick Foster coming out of the chicane, and Lee Wood ends up in 17th place overall, both of them inheriting a place with the demise on that last lap of Will Bratt. So Lee Wood wins the Jack Sears Trophy. Andrew Jordan is the winning independent, but more importantly, he is the outright winner of round 5 of the championship. Well, he worked hard to get past Gordon Shedden, and then he was able to pull away, build up that gap. Didn't put a wheel wrong, did he?
No. Oh, somebody has.
Talking of wheels wrong, yeah.
Somebody's definitely put a wheel wrong. I'm not sure where that's come off. We can tell you it's a hard compound tyre because it's a yellow sidewall. Apparently it came off Will Bratt's car, which is why we saw Will pulling off the circuit.
It's coming out of the chicane. Will has gone across the line. The wheel has gone...
Oh, it's making it into the pit road entry. Perfect.
That's called a control tyre. Knows exactly where it's going, and it gets out of harm's way. So there is a 3-wheeled Audi. It sheds the wheel going into the chicane. The wheel bounces. Will Bratt did get over the line in 19th place. The wheel was 20th. So drama right at the very last corner for poor old Will Bratt. And Andrew Jordan, meantime, can celebrate a race win. In the end, the gap was 1.9 seconds, but so what? A win is a win. Jason Plato, in his 400th race, takes 2nd place. Gordon Shedden 3rd. Matt Neal, celebrating a 500 race, was 4th ahead of Adam Morgan, and then Sam Tornoff. And yet again, an awful lot happening right the way through that, with cars rising and falling up the order. Different expressions on different drivers' faces as they head to the pit lane. The happiest of all being Andrew Jordan, win number 5 in his BTCC career. Matt Neal, well, he knows how to win championships, so although he might not be ecstatic with 4th, he knows its points, and they are all going to be useful. Results of round 5 at Donington. Andrew Jordan, the race winner from Jason Plato and Gordon Shedden. 4th to Matt Neal ahead of Adam Morgan and Sam Tornoff. Dave Newsham 7th. Aaron Smith is 8th ahead of Colin Turkington. And Tom Onslow Cole is 10th. Jeff Smith is 11th ahead of Rob Collard, that changing on the last lap. Matt Jackson 13th ahead of Jack Goff and Daniel Welch from last on the grid. Then it's Nick Foster ahead of Lee Wood, then James Cole, Will Bratt and Rob Austin classified in 20th, although he did not get to the flag. Well, drama all the way at Donington, and Andrew Jordan it is, the race winner. The car now goes to the scrutineering checks. The marshals, the technical team, all working there to make sure that the car complies with the regulations. The weight, the ride height will be checked, then the car released down to the victory area. And this also, while we're talking about anniversaries, is 25 years of Eurotech, Mike Jordan's race team, Mike Andrews' dad, and it's Eurotech that operates the cars under the banner of Pertec Racing. So there's another little milestone reached there, a win in the 25th year of the team. And Andrew, who came out of junior rallycross through Ginetta Racing, then back into rallycross where he was successful in supercars. He's raced Renault Clios, but largely has been a mainstay of the BTCC for a good number of seasons now, and 5th career win goes his way. Where better than on his home circuit of Donington.
Number 1 for the Pertec Racing team
parks the car,
arrived down here,
and does the belts,
one of the team is
plugs all the leads, clambers through the car. Delighted with a victory. Andrew Jordan wins at Donington. Great reception there, you can see from the Pertec Racing guys. Handshakes and hugs all round. Younger brother Bradley there, sister Sarah. Adam Hardy, his engineer, brother-in-law. Where's his dad? Where's Mike? There he is in the background. A very proud dad, grinning from ear to ear. Mike, of course, also had a win in the BTCC, didn't he, at Mondello Park many years ago in his Honda Integra. Jason Plato then for 2nd place for this race, number 400, to tie in with 400 races. And there's Andrew Jordan, crash helmet off.
You said that win was coming, and you finally got it now. Great stuff.
Well, that was the best race I've driven. You know, to have to pass Gordon, because I could see Jason look pretty racy coming up to us, and so to do a good move on him, and then it was just hitting my markers, hitting my lap times. Car was absolutely superb. I can't get over how good the guys have done, because that makes my job a little bit easier. When they do make a car as good as that, we can do results like that. So fantastic.
And it's a car, it's a Honda that's currently beating the works Hondas as well, and that must be a good feeling.
Oh, it's a very good feeling. We've had a very good pace with weight on all day. In qualifying yesterday as well, we were very strong. So we're on a roll. We've got momentum behind us, but equally that can stop as quick as it can start. So we need to keep that momentum. But fantastic feeling to get that win, and so early on in the season. Once
you'd made that move on Gordon, how much? I mean, you had a relatively quiet race thereafter. Or it looked like that from outside the car, but probably wasn't the case from inside.
It was, as I say, it was just about hitting my markers, keeping it nice and consistent. Obviously, got lap time on the dash and was keeping it within a 10th or 2 every lap. Nice, neat lap. So I just said to myself, just treat it like we were doing a race running free practice. And then obviously Jason got clear of Gordon. He was coming on pretty strong, but I'd rolled it right off at the end of the race, so fantastic.
Family obviously all enjoyed it. Your little brother was jumping up and down in the garage. You've just seen you giving him a bit of man love, some of the boys on the team as well. All of the team inevitably celebrates this win, hugely, don't they? Yeah,
I'd say we're the closest knit team out there, to be honest, and we work so well together. We're all good friends. We all muck in and do everything we have to do, and they work hard. They work harder than anyone else I've met, so credit to them.
Good stuff. Well done, you. Let's dive in and grab a word with Jason, just pulling his helmet off. Well done, Jason, celebrating your 400th race start with a 2nd place, but boy, that bloke Shedden made you work for it, didn't he?
Yeah, he was, I think you could say he was a bit defensive, aren't you? Hey, it was, from my perspective, a fun race, actually. I had to really think hard about how I was going to eventually crack Gordon. And he was slowing me up a lot. It's a shame, actually, because I think Adam managed to get past him soon. I could have won that race. I think we had the quickest package. But 2nd's good enough, we just got to keep the thing pointing in the right direction, keep getting points for everyone at MGK's Momentum Racing Team, and keep making sure we give a good day out for all our sponsors. And it's let's hope it's entertaining on the TV, because it's great from where I'm sat.
Well, it wasn't all kicking off in that race, and the guys were saying at the end of the commentary, not a massive amount of overtaking, but a brilliant race to watch, because it was just, you were all on it the whole way through.
Well done, well done. Yeah, absolutely. There was no rubbing racing. It was a good race, actually, really good race. I mean, You know, to overtake one person down Craners requires a little bit of insanity, but to do it again, especially to a mad Scotsman. So I'm quite relieved I'm here, to be honest, because I've been fired off down the Craner curves by him 3 years ago and ended on my roof. So, but no, a great race. You know, I think an exciting race for the fans to see as well. But I'm pleased with second.
It was definitely that. Let's bring in the man who's just been referred to as the Mad Scotsman. Tim Harvey said at the end of that race that was an absolute masterclass in defensive driving.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite clear to see, you know, the MG had a bit more straight line than us, and made it very difficult. But you know, with 45 kilos, obviously it's quite a big turnaround in the weights and things, and you know, we made a change before that race which we hoped would help, and it didn't really. So back to the drawing board for race 3, but it was a good race, clean race for once, which is all good.
Did it take you a few laps to actually feel what the weight was doing? Because it makes a huge difference to the way that the car's handling, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, the biggest problem I had was when we go round to the grid. You know, we put the rear tyres on the front and vice versa, but mine actually picked up a stone. The rear tyre picked up a stone and a cut, so we had to put a really cold right rear tyre on it, which isn't much fun going down Craner curves or any of the left-handers. So it took about 3 or 4 laps for that to come up to temperature. But hey, I mean, it's a podium, it's good. I would have liked a lot more, but you know, we'll take all the points anyway we can get them at the moment.
Good stuff. Well done. Let's just have a very quick word with your teammate Matt. No podium to celebrate at the end of the 500th race, but still you gave it all that you got, didn't you?
It was a great race, wasn't it? I mean, we had some fun. I tried to keep JP off his back for a while to see if we could get him into second place, keep him in second place, but the speed they've given that thing in a straight line is crazy. So, and that's at this time of the year. But still a great win for Andy in the Honda again. So 2 out of 2 at the minute.
And all to play for still in the final race of the day?
Yeah, reverse grid. So at least I get the measure on these guys, and I'm a bit lighter than them. But my car felt really good in that race. Really, really good. Just wasn't quite quick enough to keep Jason behind me and then keep him off his back. But we'll go.
Okay, great stuff. Well, let's find out where you're going to be lining up in that final race. And to help Steve out with that, he's got a guy with him who knows just a little bit about driving a racing car.
Yes, one of the great racing names, name of Brabham. David Brabham, we're delighted, has joined us to help us make the draw for this reverse grid. I want to talk to you about your son Sam, who we're going to be seeing very shortly racing in Formula Ford, and he's made an immediate impression. But before you make the draw, your own touring car pedigree, I seem to recall you getting behind the wheel of one of these things back in the mid-90s. Do you remember that with affection?
Yes, I mean, the racing was fantastic. I hit BMW right when they had their probably least competitive year, but it was a fantastic experience, and all I remember is the cars obviously were very different to Formula One, which I was doing the year before, but the racing was just spectacular.
Yeah, and it still is, from what you've seen today.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
Right, one thing that has changed is the sophistication of the manner in which we make the draw for the reverse grid. Our viewers will be familiar. Let's remind the viewers at home that inside the bowl here we have numbers that relate to the drivers who finished 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got Sam Tordoff, Dave Newsham, Aaron Smith, Colin Turkington, Tom Onslow Cole, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Your job simply is to draw one out and he will get promoted to pole position.
Do that now?
Yep. And you draw, that's not going to make you hugely popular, you draw number 10 Tom Onslow Cole, who goes on to pole position. Thanks for that, and we will see exactly what it means in terms of the grid in a few minutes' time. But Sam, his first weekend moving up from karts into Formula Ford, and what's the judgment on how he's performed so far?
Beyond our expectations, to be honest with you. I mean, he came here not knowing the circuit straight into qualifying because they had a problem on Thursday with testing and he couldn't get out. And he qualified 7th. And he forgot to put it in first gear on his first race and dropped back to second last. And he just stormed, and he finished 5th, and he got second fastest lap in the race, which is incredible, absolutely incredible. He just did a stunning job, and we're so proud of him.
And how does a father, especially a father with your experience and pedigree, play it from this point on? How much advice are you providing?
Well, of course, you give a little bit of advice, but at the end of the day, you know, it's up to him. He's behind the wheel. He's got to learn himself, and you know, he had a great race yesterday. Today was a little bit tougher, but he still pulled off a 7th place. and he's very much looking forward to race 3 just coming up.
Okay, he's out there on the grid right now. We'll see him in live action very shortly. Best wishes to him, and thanks for helping us out with the draw. Let's explain exactly how the grid lines up for our third touring car race of the day, and David Addison can take us through it.
So after that reversal, it means that Tom Onslow-Cole from 10th in the race starts on pole position. Colin Turkington with him at the front of the grid. Aaron Smith will start third, Dave Newsham fourth, and then Sam Tordoff and Adam Morgan, both of whom have had a very impressive day thus far. Matt Neal is going to be next, ahead of Gordon Shedden. Jason Plato will be 9th on the grid, and so the race winner Andrew Jordan drops to 10th. Then it is those unaffected by the grid draw. Jeff Smith starts 11th, having taken the place away from Rob Collard at the end. Matt Jackson and Jack Goff are next, then Dan Welch and Nick Foster. Lee Wood will start ahead of James Cole. And then you get the drivers that were in grief in that second race. Will Bratt ahead of teammate Rob Austin, Ollie Jackson and Frank Raffle, then Liam Griffin and Joe Girling in the Chevrolet. Warren Scott, who was in the gravel, James Kay was in the wall, so was David Nye, and he will start at the back of the grid. And that is how we're going to look for round 6 of the championship later this afternoon, Steve.
So Tom Onslow-Cole on pole position for our third touring car race, which is coming up at around about 5:15. David Brabham giving that grid the maximum reshuffle, and Brabham out on the grid right now. We'll see young Sam Brabham in action in Formula Fords. The British Championship round is coming up straight after this break.